Autoline Daily is brought to you by Bridgestone, passion for excellence.
Here are today's top headlines. U.S. car sales show some definite improvement. Chrysler will resume production soon, and the Cash for Clunkers bill comes up for a vote today. Up next, we'll be back with the news behind the headlines. This is Autoline Daily for Wednesday, June 3rd, 2009, and now the news. Car sales in the American market showed improvement last month, not compared to a year ago, from which they dropped 32%, but compared to April, they were up 13% and hit an annualized rate of nearly 9.9 million units, according to Wards. The Detroit 3 captured 46% of the market, the Asian automakers hit 46%, and the rest went to the Europeans. The U.S. Senate may vote today on the Cash for Clunkers proposal. According to the Detroit Free Press, the plan, led by Michigan Senator Debbie Stabenow, has the backing of automakers, dealers, and President Obama, but there is a competing proposal from Senator Dianne Feinstein of California that would set tougher mileage standards. We've seen evidence that people are holding off buying a car until Congress passes this proposal, so hopefully they pass this bill soon. Chrysler may start production again by the end of the month. According to the Free, even though sales are weak, inventories for the Jeep Wrangler and minivans are starting to run low. Chrysler idled all North American production when it entered bankruptcy on April 30th. Yesterday, we reported Hummer had been sold to an undisclosed buyer. Later, it came out that it's the Chinese company Sichuan Tengzhong Heavy Industrial Machinery Company. It specializes in manufacturing road, construction, and energy industry equipment. The deal, which is expected to be finalized in the third quarter, will keep Hummer's headquarters and operations in the U.S. The Detroit Free Press reports that when GM exits bankruptcy as a privately held company, it may not disclose very much financial information to the public. That's kind of puzzling since U.S. taxpayers have such a big stake in it. As early as the beginning of next year, GM could start taking steps to become publicly traded again. Here's a surprising bit of news. According to The Guardian, in the UK, the world's 51,000 or so commercial ships produce about as much air pollution as half of the world's cars. Particulate emissions and sulfur belching from their smokestacks are the most dangerous. By 2020, sulfur in marine fuel must be cut by 90%, which on its own should reduce particulate emissions by 50%. You know, I've always wondered if people buying hybrids imported from Japan realized it took a big carbon footprint to ship their cars halfway around the world. You know, every automaker plays the incentive game, but according to Wards, in New Zealand, Mitsubishi has come up with the strangest gimmick of all time. You order a new Triton pickup before August, and you get a free goat. I hope they're selling these trucks to farmers, because otherwise, it's a bad idea. Coming up next, it's time for You Said It.
Changing tires out here could be dangerous, but with these tires, I don't need to worry.
Bridgestone.
And now it's time for some of your feedback. This is You Said It, where we get your questions, and You Said It gives me a chance to respond. Jim Taruso wrote in to ask, GM goes through bankruptcy, quick and easy, and we are going forward. What changes the corporate executive culture? Are they not responsible for the whole debacle? Jim, that's an #1 question, and that should be the first order of business for the new GM board of directors to address. GM really needs to do some soul searching on this one. And John W. Pick asks, will the diesel engine ever make it to the American market in large numbers? Well, John, two things are holding back the diesel over here. One is the huge cost to meet U.S. diesel emission standards, which are far stricter than they are in Europe. Two, we just don't refine nearly as much diesel fuel over here as they do in Europe. So we need the engineers to take huge amounts of cost out of diesel emission controls, and they're working on it. And we need the refiners to build more diesel refining capacity, and the plans are in the works for that. And Paul V. Mack wrote in to say, If Opel is going to survive under new management from Magna, why don't the Saturn dealers strike up a deal with Magna to become the new supplier of Saturn cars? Well, Paul, first off, Magna's not going to be running Opel. It's going to be a minority owner. GM and Sberbank, the Russian bank, are going to hold most of the stock. The current Opel managers will stay in place, and I think it's unlikely GM will want to help Saturn's new owners too much, since Saturn will now become a competitor to GM. Hey, you can always enter our weekly trivia quiz. All you have to do is sign up for our free email newsletter. I'll be picking the winner Friday on Autoline Daily. And as prizes, we always give away the gifts that the automakers give us at their new car launches. And that's it for today's top news in the global automotive industry. But don't forget to tune in tomorrow night for Autoline After Hours for some of the best discussion in the industry. Thanks for watching. We'll see you tomorrow.
Visit our website for even more great content all week long. Autoline Extra, John's Journal, podcasts, and even more. So click over and get the inside view at AutolineDetroit.tv.